Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Bhakti Pragyan Kesava Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Saparikar Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mahabhagavat Srila Gaura Kishore Das Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Shri Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Vaishnav Sarvabhaum Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Gauri Vedanta Charya Baladev Vijabhushan Prabhu ki jai. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Shri Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Trai ki jai. Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Shata Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Srila Swarup Damodar Roy Ramanandadi Gaura Parshada Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Navadvipa Dhama ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dhama ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dvarashavanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dhama ki jai. Shri Braj Mandala Parikrama ki jai. Parikrama Kori Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jai Shri Shri Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath Radha Madan Mohan Jiu ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Radha Shyama Sundar Radha Raman Radha Damodar Jiu ki jai. Shrimati Lalita Vishaka Adi Ashta Sakhi Vrinda ki jai. Shri Rupa Manjari Rati Manjari Adi Manjari Vrinda ki jai. Shrimati Brinda Devi ki jai. Shrimati Purnamasi Yoga Maya Devi ki jai. Shri Gopi Swar Mahadeva ki jai. Sarva Bhishta Pradata Giriraj Govardhana ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Jagannatha Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiu ki jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Kshetra Dham ki jai. Bhakti Vigna Vinashana Shri Nrsingadev ki jai. Bhakta Pravara Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Charodham Charo Sampradaya Charo Acharya ki jai. Akaramat Raj Shri Chaitanya Mat ki jai. Or Ananya Shakamat Samuha ki jai. Shri Vishva Vaishnava Raj Sabha ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Tribhuvana Pavana Harinama Sankirtana ki jai. Tribhuvana Mangala Harinama Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai. Shri Nityananda Mahajana ki jai. Shri Panchatattva ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jataha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaura Trishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Bhaktya Vihina Aparadha Lakshai Kriptashtra Kamadi Taranga Madhye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanna Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtotarashata Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, and the same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Sikh Gurudevs Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtotarashata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtotarashata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering my same Dandavat Pranams to the lotus feet of all of my Shri Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga. And my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavis. And especially very happy to see our revered God brother, Srimad Bhaktivedanta Sri Damodar Maharaj attending our class. So we're continuing with our reading of the Sri Braj Mandala Parikrama book, written by our beloved Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And we are now entering into the actual Parikrama section, where all the different pastime places are going to be described in the same sequence and order in which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself personally did his parikrama, according to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, how he went from Mathura first, and then he went in sequence all throughout the 12 forests of Vrindavan. So actually we're going in his footsteps and the footsteps of our Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga. Without them, we cannot do parikrama. I remember, might have been in the Jagannath Puri Parikrama in 2001, but this point was being made by Gurudev, that who's actually doing this parikrama? Are we doing the parikrama? And then he specified, he said, no. The pure Vaishnava is doing the parikrama, and we are following them. They are doing the parikrama. Yes. And we're following.
You go on parikrama without a pure Vaishnava, and you're just walking in a circle. Maybe.
Well, it's not considered to be actual parikrama, because those Vaishnavas, well, we'll get there, but those Vaishnavas, those personalities are perfected souls. Only under their guidance can parikrama be performed. Is a fact. So even if they're not physically there, but you're doing this parikrama by their order, by their instruction, under their guidance, then you can say parikrama is there. But especially pranayi bhaktas, you know, in that song, Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula, sing on Ekadasi Day. There he's talking about going to the pastime places of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the association of pranayi bhaktas. And what is that? Pranayi, those who have pranay. What is pranay? It means pure love for Krishna. So, by reading this particular book together, as we're doing, chanting the Ashtakams, we're following the instruction of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga, which is what they want us to do. And although we can't physically be there, but in our mind we're going, by hearing their pure Katha about these holy places, so much benefit is derived. And following the vratas like this. So, it's very wonderful to read this book. I was reading ahead a bit today to see all the wonderful Katha that's awaiting us. And we've already warmed ourselves up a little bit by reading the vows and reading about Braj, what is Braj, and also contemplating very deeply how to do the Braj Mandala Parikrama, in which, chronological sequence that we would go on, and in which places we will see. So of course, there's a few hundred places that we read. So, and we will hear the Katha about many of those places that even physically we could not go to during the actual parikrama because not enough time. But in olden days, those great personalities who traversed the field of Braj, they went on foot. Even Gurudev used to do that in the earlier period. We used to hear from some of the disciples of Gurudev, Srila Balan Maharaj, how they used to go walking without hiring buses and all of that. And they had a smaller group. Uma Devi also remembers. Maybe you heard her speaking about it sometimes. And
without shoes also?
Yeah. I mean, it's best someone could do if they have some injury, but yeah, that's the way to do it. And I remember once we were on the bus in the early days with Amma Devi, and she was on the bus and she started to tell everybody, oh, this is how we used to do the parikrama. It was very exciting. We would go with Gurudev, and then we just, on the side of the road, we'd make a fire, we'd cook something. We were so happy, everything was so simple. Then we would just, like hitchhike or something, they'd get on the back of a tractor, because there's so many tractors with, what do you call them? The trailer,
flatbed.
the back of the tractor, pulling.
Yeah.
And they just jump into there and go to the next place sometimes, you know. So wonderful. This is what we want to fill our lives with. This is the activity of our Goswamis and the followers of the Goswamis. To feel all these bhavs and all these moods in Braj. So now we're going to read the glories of Sri Mathura. And it truly is amazing, amazing. And the whole history of Mathura and all the pastimes that took place in Mathura. So now we'll begin reading that section. There are 7 holy cities on the earth that award liberation. Have you ever heard of these 7 holy cities that award liberation? This is ancient, from ancient times. What are they? Ayodhya? Huh? No. Ayodhya, Mathura, Dwarka is one of them. It's called Dvaravati, actually. That's the ancient name, Dvaravati. Also, Mayapuri, but this is not referring to Mayapur. This is referring to Haridwar, confluence of the Ganga and Yamuna. Then Kashi.
It's Prayag.
What is Kashi? Yeah, that's Prayag, the Haridwar.
Really?
Oh, wait.
No, Haridwar's further up in the mountains.
Okay, oh, yeah.
This is where the Jamuna and Ganga come, that's Prayag.
That's Prayag. Okay. Now, Kashi. What is Kashi? Varanasi, the place of Lord Shiva. Then Kanchi. Not so familiar with Kanchi.
South India.
Huh?
South India, Kanchipuram.
Yeah.
Is that where Ranga?
Huh?
That temple.
Okay, and then Avantika is also called Ujjain. Ujjain. And finally, Dwarka. So these are the 7 cities, 7 holy cities on the earth that award liberation.
But not Jagannath Puri.
It's not in this list. It's in another list. Charo Dham, Charo Sampradaya, Charo Acharya, it's in that list. Dham, Charo Dham. Jagannath Puri is Dham, not only Tirtha or holy place. We'll hear a verse actually where it's reciting that, oh, all of you Tirthas, now you should come to Mathura and you should offer Artik to Mathura Devi and like this. Now, of these 7, Mathura, the birthplace of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna Chandra, is the topmost. This abode not only awards liberation, but also bestows Bhagavat Prem, love of God. Mathura is the Supreme Lord's abode, consisting of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, Sachidananda. And it is completely beyond the illusory energy. It is protected by the Sudarshan Chakra and is therefore not affected by the universal dissolution or other disruptions. What to speak of Vaikuntha, it is even more praiseworthy than Dwarka, which is ornamented by Sri Krishna's queens. This city of Mathura is never annihilated. In the beginning of the Satya Yuga, the child Dhruva met Devarshi Narada here. Dhruva took bath in the Yamuna at Dhruva Ghat in Mathura. And he accepted Nam Mantra of the Lord from Narada Muni. Nearby, at Madhuvan Maholi, he attained perfection by worshipping Bhagavan. So this is in Satya Yuga. And we go there. Do you remember that place, Dhruvatila? That place we go to, nearby, and that's in Madhuvan.
Is this the first Manvantar, or Dhruva was that? Because he was the son of King Uttanapad, who was the son of Swayambhuva Manu, the
Right.
first Manu.
Right.
So this is literally trillions and trillions of years ago.
Well, it's not specifying which day of Brahma. Not specifying that here. But actually the point about this, that it never becomes annihilated, you know.
Yeah.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this same thing in the Navadvip Dhammahatmya about Navadvip, because one thing important is that Braj Mandala and Gaur Mandala, and especially Navadvip and Vrindavan, they're the eternal abodes, and they're non-different than one another. Even Jagannath Puri is not in that same category, right? So they're actually the dhams of Sri Krishna.
So Jagannath Puri is not one of the eternal dhams.
That I can't say, because it's only telling here, and it's also telling in Navadvip Mahatmya the story about Markandeya Rishi, and how he floated in the waters of the devastation. He had something like 7 days of Brahma, he could not die. He was given that benediction. And he started lamenting, why did I accept this benediction? Because he can't die. So the waters of devastation are coming. But in the distance, he falls unconscious, and he floats up near the shore of a landmass, which is effulgent. And suddenly he feels himself being pulled onto the shore. And who's pulling him onto the shore? Surabhi Devi, the cow that was brought by Indra, right? She also stayed in Braj during that time, and then after that, she was flying back, and she came down in Navadvip Dham. And so Godrum Dvip has this place there called Surabhi Kunj, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur also wrote song about, you know. And that Surabhi Devi did bhajan there in Navadvip Dham. So she also explained to Markandeya Rishi, oh, this is Navadvip Dham. When he became conscious, she gave her milk to him and everything, he became conscious. And then she explained, this is the place where in the future, Bhagavan Sri Krishna will appear in a golden color as Lord Gauranga. And then Surabhi Devi and Markandeya Rishi began to worship Lord Gauranga. And this is prior to Mahaprabhu's appearance, so much prior. And what happened? Mahaprabhu appeared and revealed himself to them, gave them benediction. So the thing is that actually the dhams are never affected at all by the annihilation, okay? It doesn't say the same thing about the different tirthas, you know. But Gurudev specified that Jagannath Puri is not in the same category, because some persons also assert that Jagannath Puri is also Vrindavan. And there may be some statements. So they're saying actually Puri is also Vrindavan, because Mahaprabhu also had his spurtis there. What did he see? Yamuna, the ocean, the sand dunes. He saw his Govardhan, you know, and like that. But these were by Bhav. These spurtis were by Bhav. Whereas Gurudev was describing that in the Vrindavan Dham, Navadvip Dham, the actual Dham. And they're also non-different, because in the Nitya Dham, as I explained one other class, that there are 2 sections in the Goloka Vrindavan. And the inner whorl of the lotus flower is Braja, not the outer petals, but the inner whorl is Braja, where Radha and Krishna's most intimate Parakiya Ras pastimes take place. But the other section, other half of that Braja, is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's eternal form, where his Sankirtan pastimes are taking place. And Gurudev told that in Vrindavan, Krishna's Ashtakaliya Leela is going on eternally, right? In the bone, Vrindavan, they're going on eternally. And also in Navadvip, Mahaprabhu also has his Ashtakaliya Leela pastimes going on eternally. So that other side of Braja, if you envision like a circle and then one half on each side, that other side is called Shvetadvip. And that is where Mahaprabhu's Nitya Leela is going on. But then Gurudev said, but this is not, there's not Ashtakaliya Leela in Jagannath Puri in the same way. So these two dhams are identical dhams.
So the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are not a petal, they're the part of the inner world.
Yes. Yes.
And the Jagannath Puri pastimes would be?
Well, actually I can't say. It's a dham for Lord Jagannath, but Jagannath's pastimes are manifested here in this world. Jagannath's pastimes. You know, the persons who could really expound upon this is Bhakti Sridhar Maharaj.
You know, one time he was giving a class in San Francisco. He was mentioning something about that, and he was maybe you were there, Maharaj. I don't know, maybe. He was mentioning how it's the same as Vrindavan, and they even have the same deities in Vrindavan. And he was saying who was Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Govinda, and Radha Gopinath, and those deities are manifested in Jagannath Puri too. And Radha Madan Mohan
in the temple they have those deities.
No, in as like Vrindavan, like a Prakash, like
No, but in the Jagannath Mandir itself, they're there, or in
on the outside of the mandir.
In the like mandap.
Yeah, because they have many temples there.
Well, he was mentioning like like somewhere like within Puri, and he was saying like so. I think Radha Govinda is Jagannath, and then he mentioned another deity, and that was referenced as Radha Madan Mohan, and then he mentioned another deity within Jagannath Puri, and that was Radha Gopinath, and he was saying that that is same as Vrindavan.
A different Gopinath than Tota Gopinath, or
yeah. Well, maybe Tota Gopinath was one of them. I have to listen to the class again, but he was mentioning that, and then I remember Radhakanta was actually asking like, oh, but we have heard that that Jagannath Puri is not so as Vrindavan.
Not in the same category.
Yeah. But then Bhakti Srimad was giving some quotes that it is kind of like that. I have to listen to the recording.
Well, I can tell you that this subject matter came up because of statements that had been told to Gurudev from disciples of Gaur Govinda, Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, to that effect. See, they're Oriyan, and there's various shastras like that, but Gurudev very specifically, and you can even see it in his book, that he said, no, not in the same category. And he gave especially these two reasons, that these dhams are nitya dhams, and that the Ashtakaliya Leela are going on as they are in the nitya dham. They're going on in Vrindavan, and in Braj Mandala, and in Navadvip. Because we always hear from our acharyas that Vrindavan and Navadvip are non-different abodes. But that's not sung in any of the songs of our acharyas in this line, okay? So I don't know what he's referring to. Obviously, Jagannath Puri is a very exalted place, and it's one of the 4 dhams, I was saying. When we say Charo Dham in our Jayadvani, Jagannath Puri is one of them,
Yeah, I really don't remember that.
Yeah.
I fully.
Anyway, the main point that we're making here is that the city of Mathura is never annihilated. So then he tells about how in Satya Yuga, Devarshi Narada met Dhruva here, and so forth. And he attained perfection by worshipping Bhagavan in Satya Yuga. Then he goes on to say, also in Satya Yuga, Durvasa Rishi arrived here while the devotee Maharaja Ambarish was in the course of breaking his vow of observing Ekadashi and Dvadashi. And it was here that Durvasa realized Ambarish Maharaj's glories. Even today, Chakratirtha and Ambarish Tila stand as witnesses to how Ambarish Maharaj was protected by the Sudarshan Chakra. So one thing, and this is something I didn't know previously, before I started coming on the Braj Mandala Parikramā and so forth, that Mathura, okay, is the actual ancient place of many of the kings. It was the capital, Mathura, what the present day town of Mathura. You know, it's not quite on the level of a big city, but that was the capital. Ambarish Maharaj was the emperor, actually. In previous times, it's in Satya Yuga that this was taking place. So
this would be descendants from the moon god. Two Vamsas, Surya Vamsa and Chandra Vamsa. So Surya Vamsa is Ayodhya, in the line of Lord Rama.
Ayodhya, yeah, Surya Vamsa.
And then Mathura would be the Chandra Vamsa.
That's right.
Chandra Vamsa.
Right, that's correct.
And then all those kings that are mentioned in the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam are situated there.
Right. Yeah, and then of course when Sri Krishna appeared, then the capital was moved to Hastinapur and Indraprastha, right? Indraprastha. When the Pandavas created their capital, those two places. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Govinda Jiyo Ki Jai. Yeah, so he's telling that also in the Satya Yuga, not only Dhruva Maharaj took place there, but Durvasa Rishi also. And you probably know that across from the Yamuna River, Gurudev established a temple in the very ashram where Durvasa Rishi stayed. You were going to say something?
Well, the Satya Yuga of Dhruva, like from the 3rd canto of the Bhagavatam, you have Swayambhuva Manu, 3rd canto, 4th canto.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the 9th canto, then you have the present Manu, which is Vayavasvata Manu, which Ambarish appeared in that. So the beginning of the 9th canto is the pastime.
So those Satya Yugas are far, far apart.
So far apart.
Yeah.
But we have a perfect knowledge of it by disciplic succession.
Yes.
So, you know, we have perfect.
Nobody else.
Yes.
Nobody else has it.
Nobody else has it.
Yeah.
No historian, no scholar.
No. Yeah. We were saying that the other day. I mean, Mahabharata.
Yeah.
You know, we have the actual history.
Yeah.
You know, authoritative. Which one of the things about Mahabharata is known by all the scholars all over the world as the longest existing epic ever written in human society. Longest, 100,000 verses. Perfect Sanskrit poetry.
And in the heavenly planets, it's 1 million verses.
Yeah. Well, Prabhupada also said about Srimad Bhagavatam that they have many more pastimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also one important thing about Mahabharata. Actually, I heard this, Hridayananda Maharaj was explaining this because he really went into the Mahabharata on a scholarly level. And he said that Western civilization, you know, the science of astronomy was already there in the Vedas, but they concealed it, especially the British, not admitting that their science of astronomy actually came from the Vedas,
right?
You see? So then when it came to the, you know, the science of what is now called astrology, Jyotish, right? They had to give it another name. They couldn't use anami, because that's the subject matter of different sciences, right? So they had to give it astrology, that name. Astrology, you know. But the thing is that all of the planetary configurations are mentioned in the Mahabharata,
Right.
which can be proven today by astronomy, and astrological formations and everything. Even the birth of Lord Krishna, exactly, you know. And Ramayana, I think, also has the astrological for Lord Ram.
Difference between Western astrology and Eastern astrology is a difference of 23 degrees. And they don't, Western astrology does not take into the idea of past lives, whereas Vedic astrology will allow you to look into a person's past life.
I didn't know that.
And
But
future
there's a
life.
difference
Yeah,
in
there's
that
a
way.
difference. And there's a difference of 23 degrees, so it's not as accurate
Yeah.
as
As the Vedic
sidereal. Sidereal astrology
Uh-huh.
is the Indian astrology, and tropical
Yeah.
is the Western astrology.
Okay. Interesting. Did you study those
Yeah.
two?
Mhm.
Okay. See, I've never studied it. I've
Yeah.
never gone into that at all.
Well, it's just karma.
Yeah.
We're devotees.
Yeah. But, to have studied that also gives you a certain perspective, especially in modern day occurrences and so forth.
The real history is in the Puranas, the history of the entire world.
The real history,
The real history.
especially in the Bhagavad Purana, the transcendental histories. Yeah. You have to roll another chair in here. No. You can do it. The old ones, these chairs are for the old ones.
Or those that have a bad back, or
Yes.
a combination thereof.
That's right. Did you want to say something more, Maharaj?
No, no.
Thank you for the,
I'm sorry if I took I had to bring some groceries in, so you may have driven up here, and my van was there. Sorry about
no,
that.
I came on foot. Hari Kram. But no worries. Boga's good.
All right. So, and I was saying that Gurudev was donated this property on the other side of the Yamuna, which he had a very strong desire to build a temple there, right? This was in the 1990s when somebody donated that property. You were there for what?
In the beginning, I went with Gurudev one time with Gopi.
Before it was built.
Before it was built.
Right.
And we met the local Pandas.
Yeah.
And, Gurudev was walking, and actually there was some structure there at first.
Yeah.
And we were walking and climbing ladders and looking around. Gurudev was talking to them and giving them instructions. And it was very, very intimate.
Yeah.
Seeing Gurudev dealing with the Rajabasis like that in a situation like that.
Yeah, and I remember before Gurudev went to the West, I think that was in 95 when he got that property. And I remember him mentioning it to us. That he wanted to build.
That he wanted, because it was a few years later.
It was a few years later.
We went
but there were some disputes that went on, right?
Yes.
There were some disputes.
And some after, many more after.
Yes. Even. But you know what? In 1999, no, actually the year 2000, was the first year that Srila Gurudev came to Russia. Okay? And that year, we met him and we arranged like VIP reception area that Gurudev didn't have to wait in line and come through immigration and all that.
Nice.
Somehow or other, the devotees were able to arrange that in that time. So quite a few devotees were able to come into that room and sit with Gurudev just after he got off the flight from India. And Gurudev was talking about that place, Durvasa Tila, and how he just had a great victory. He was in a very uplifted mood because, and then he was comparing it to how, those people, they've had this property, which is actually the very place where Durvasa Rishi had his ashram in the time of Lord Krishna. He was staying right there, near the banks of the Yamuna. And just like Durvasa Rishi was trying to cause some problem for Ambarish Maharaj, but the Sudarshan Chakra came and protected, so Gurudev was also giving a comparison that yes, Sudarshan came and protected. So that whole story about Durvasa Rishi, he arrived there in Mathura while the devotee Maharaj Ambarish was in the course of breaking his vow of observing Ekadasi and Dvadashi. And it was here that Durvasa realized Ambarish Maharaj's glory. And even today, Chakratirtha and Ambarish Tila stand as witnesses to how Ambarish Maharaj was protected by the Sudarshan Chakra. So those places are part of the Mathura Parikrama, like what we just heard.
So Maharaj Ambarish's kingdom was in Mathura.
In Mathura. And those places. The wrestling arena. You know that the Keshavji Gaudiya Math is right next to the place where the wrestling arena was and where Kamsa was killed. I think it's called Kank's Tila. It's like a stone's throw away from Keshavji Gaudiya Math.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That location. Maharaj, did you tell the history, that pastime of Durvasa with the gopis?
No. You want to mention it?
Okay, we can mention it. It's at one time Krishna was testing the gopis. You could say he's always doing things like this. It's part of his nature. But he wanted the gopis to take some, offerings over to Durvasa, right? And he was across the Jamuna, as Maharaj was saying, this Durvasa Tila. And so Krishna they said, well, it's roaring, weather, it's like when Krishna took birth practically, stormy weather, how will we possibly get across? And he said, just do this mantra, say, Krishna is a brahmachari. If you chant this mantra, Krishna is a brahmachari, you'll be able to easily cross over.
Right. And
they all thought, Krishna, brahmachari? This is not acceptable, but we'll say it anyway, just to, pacify him. And all the gopis said this mantra, Krishna's a brahmachari, and amazing, like the Jamuna became like still and calm, and they were able to actually walk right across over to Durvasa. And they came to Durvasa, and they brought him all these like mountains of, Krishna
foodstuffs, different preparations and stuff.
So many preparations. Gopis are always there carrying so many milk, butter, ghee, rubbery ladus, sweet balls, so many things. And we know Durvasa also, he can eat mountains of prasad. He's famous for that. These are many other stories where it tells about that. And also at odd times too, like in the middle of the night, he'll call someone, oh, I'm very hungry, make me a giant pot of kheer. Anyway, they brought him so many things. And he ate them all. Everything they brought, he ate completely. But again, the storm was raging. And they said, well, now we want to go back, but how will we cross the river? And he said, well, just say the mantra that Durvasa never eats anything. Right. And they looked at him and he said, you just ate everything. You were like Giriraj. You took everything and you're saying you don't eat anything. And so, but they said the mantra. They said, okay, we'll do it, And all of a sudden, Jamuna came completely still. Like
Durvasa doesn't eat anything? That was the mantra?
Yeah. He said, Durvasa doesn't
or he's always fasting or something like that.
He doesn't eat. He doesn't eat.
Right.
Yeah. But he just ate a mountain of prasad. And so it became calm, like boom, and they went back across and they got there and Krishna saw him and they smiled, and it's like, Krishna was victorious because they had to accept, like, okay, Krishna's a brahmachari, they have to accept that, Durvasa doesn't eat anything. And then so Gurudev explained, the purport of this. Okay, first of all, he said, Krishna's a brahmachari, he says, because he has no lust. No lust whatsoever. Everything is completely natural and pure. This is the spiritual, consciousness. Prem.
Yeah.
Prem. And Maharaj can elaborate on these things more. But then on the Durvasa, he never eats anything. Why? Because he only takes Bhagavad Krishna Prasad. Eating is for regular people, for non-devotees. But devotees, they only take Prasad. They honor Prasad.
Yes.
Right? They serve Prasad. They serve Mahaprasad. They don't eat.
Yes.
Therefore, by the power of those mantras, the gopis were able to do all those things.
Yeah, because when we talk about going to have our prasadam, we never say, hey, let's go and eat some prasadam now.
Yeah.
We don't use the word eat. Serve.
Serve. One
Prasad
day.
seva.
Prasad seva.
Yes.
One day, Srila Gurudev, here in New Braj, he came out of his room and he walked out, and I happened to be right about here, And he walked up and he came up to me and he said, "Oh, today, this was after lunch, Prasadam Seva was so good."
Or say honor and prashadam.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah,
honoring,
honor it,
serving, taking prasad, but never eating.
Yeah, that was one of the sweet pastimes of Krishna with Durvasa Muni.
Okay, moving on. Now, in Treta Yuga, on the order of Sri Ramachandra, Sri Shatrughna killed the son of the demon Madhu, and that demon's name was Lavan Asura. He killed that demon here in Mathura. This pastime is well known. So, in Dwapara Yuga, Mathura became famous as the place of Sri Krishna's appearance and the site of his many pastimes. It is also well known that Sri Krishna Dvaipayana Veda Vyas took birth here on an island in the Yamuna. So that's also not far from the area where Durvasa Rishi had his ashram.
But isn't Vrindavan considered part of Mathura also?
Yeah. Well, see, when speaking of Mathura, there's also what is called Mathura Mandala. Now we say Braj Mandala, but it's also Mathura Mandala. And there are many, many quotations from Shastras. We'll see in the footnotes of this book. Many, many quotations from various Shastras about Mathura Mandala Parikrama. There's even a book written, Mathura Mandala Parikrama. So, now in the Kali Yuga, we went through the 3 yugas, now Kali Yuga. In the Kali Yuga, the Supreme Lord Sachinandan Sri Gaur Hari, resplendent with the luster and the inner sentiments of Sri Radha, came to take darshan of Vrajdam. First he reached Mathura, where he took bath at Vishram Ghat, and then he visited the pastime places within the 84 kosas of Vraj Mandala. Gaudiya literature describes that Sri Advaita Acharya, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Lokanath Goswami, and Sri Bhugarbha Goswami arrived in Mathura before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intimate associates, such as Sri Rupa, Sri Sanatan, and other Goswamis, came to Mathura and Vraja after him, and then they roamed throughout the land. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhakti Ratnakara further describe that later all our Gaudiya Acharyas came to Mathura Braj Mandala. So here he's calling Mathura Braj Mandala, like in one statement. The abundant glories of Mathura are described in the Puranas. Bhagavan Sri Keshava Dev is present in the heart of this abode, which is likened to the whorl of a lotus. So did you know that that's why Param Gurudev named his temple in Mathura as Keshavji Gaudiya Mat? Did you know that? What did you think why it was named Keshavji? Oh, because Keshav, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. Some people would thinking like that. But actually, Keshav Dev is the predominating deity of Mathura. And that deity is also there, So that's why it's called Keshavji Gaudiya Mat, but it just so happens that Param Gurudev Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, who founded the temple, is also Keshava.
So when people hear that, they kind of gravitate to thinking it's related to him, but actually it's because of the Keshavji deity.
That's right.
It's there.
Yeah.
So that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Mathura, the temple of Keshavaji was there. That was
the original deity
the original
and temple.
deity
was
there.
Yeah.
And then the Muslims invaded and they tore that temple down and built a mosque.
No. I'm not. It wasn't in that spot. That was
You're
the
thinking
palace.
of like where Krishna appeared in the
Yes.
palace
Yeah.
of Kamsa.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's different. That temple.
That's the Janmabhoomi,
Yeah.
that's called. But there's a separate place where
Okay.
the Keshavji temple is
Mm-hmm.
of that deity.
Mm.
But that will be described as we're reading through the whole account about the parikrama in Mathura. Because actually, the Mathura parikrama, traditionally Gurudev has always done that parikrama prior to the beginning of Kartik. And so Mathura, the city of Mathura, and the Keshavji Gaudiya Math is the place where all the parikrama parties would reside, and also in dharmashalas there, you know, and then they would have this parikrama for almost about 2 weeks. And they'd go to each one of the places that we're going to be describing, that Gurudev is describing in the book here.
That was, you're saying, prior to 96.
Yeah,
96,
prior
we
to
stayed
96.
for 5 days, I remember. We stayed in the
Yeah, everything shifted and changed as far as where they would reside and everything. Once the Western devotees started coming in mass. Yeah.
We started, after a few years, we ended up just going to Vrindavan first and not even doing the Mathura.
Yeah.
We'd go do the Sankalpa at Keshigat.
Yeah, I mean, they still did it though.
Beforehand.
Beforehand.
Right, it's true.
Yes, yeah,
Do it
because
before. Come
so a lot of the Western devotees only came for the Kartik time period, you know, and then they booked their ticket and flew back. But at that time, Gurudev was always doing the Mathura parikrama, and it was necessary also because he had so many loving, you know, like followers and disciples all throughout, especially the householder community. And so Gurudev, during the Mathura parikrama, they would leave aside even a few days for Gurudev to personally go to their homes, you know, and he would even visit more than one home with the kirtan party. We did that a little bit with him also toward the end there. Now, so Bhagavan Sri Keshava Dev is present in the heart of this abode, which is likened to the whorl of a lotus. And on the northern petal in Vrindavan is Sri Govinda Dev, by whose darshan a person is forever liberated from the cycle of birth and death. So he's talking about how Mathura Mandala is likened to a lotus. And he's describing that Vrindavan is like one of the petals, the northern petal, Vrindavan. And there Sri Govindaji, which is the deity of Srila Rupa Goswami, again found, right? And who is now in Jaipur. That deity is so incredible that anyone that has his darshan is forever liberated from the cycle of birth and death. On the eastern petal, at Vishramghat, that's in Mathura, is the form of the Lord named Vishranti. And then on the southern petal is Adi Varaha Dev, who bestows all perfection. So there's 2 deities we'll be hearing about, Varaha deities. And one of them was brought there, guess by who?
Satrudna.
That's right. He wanted to take that
Did you get a star,
and what?
Supposed to get a star. Or was that this morning?
They're different colors too, right? Because when I went there, there's
There's
a
Sveta
white
Varaha,
one.
White?
yes, and a black one.
Black.
Now
They're right next to, or not right next to.
they're very near.
Very near.
They have their own little temple. But the most astonishing thing, where was that deity worshipped? That Adi Varaha Dev deity?
One that Satrudna found?
Yeah.
By Lord Ram. Or in Ayodhya.
Yes.
But I don't know from before.
But
that.
where
Oh,
was worshipped by Lord Brahma himself?
That's right, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. So it's an ancient deity. And here it is, in some little side path.
Right.
Yeah, it's a small hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
That's the
crazy when you
very
think about
deity.
that. That's it, that Lord Braj, and then Satrudna, it was in Ayodhya with Ram, and Ram gave it.
Yes.
Actually, Satrudna asked for it when he was going to come and kill this demon. Lord Ram was concerned, concerned, are you sure? He goes, yeah, I can do it.
Mhm.
Also, I want to bring this deity.
Yeah.
But how is that possible? A deity like that could be in that little place. It's incredible.
If I remember correctly, didn't it have something to do with Ravana also? Anyway, it'll be
They
told
took
here.
it. They took it from
After
Ravana. After
Ram
they
killed
finished.
Ravana.
Yeah, they took
And
it.
somehow or other, Ravana got a hold of that deity, right?
That's right. I
Yeah.
don't know that story, but it's true. They brought him after as part of their victory there.
Yeah.
Their cake.
Yeah. So Vrindavan, Mathura, very ancient place.
Did Gurudev ever say which Yuga cycle that Lord Ramachandra appeared in? Was it this one, or was it because they were in the 27th Yuga cycle in this day of Brahma?
Well, one thing I don't recall Gurudev specifying that, but I have heard, I haven't read it, is Lagu Bhagavatamrita of Srila Rupa Goswami. He gets into more details about which millennium, did Lord Ramachandra appear, and so forth. He gets into that. So we can try to reference that.
In Lagu Bhagavatamrita.
Lagu Bhagavatamrita. He wrote that book after Sanatana Goswami wrote Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which is very huge. But Lagu Bhagavatamrita is the smaller. It's been translated into English. I haven't read the whole thing yet. But I've heard that all these different specific details of, because if we think that Lord Ram came in this Chatur Yuga,
right?
But according to what I've heard, it's before that. So we'll have to look that up.
I've heard that also, Mark.
Yeah.
A previous Yuga.
Yeah.
But not too long ago. Maybe the previous. This one. 1.5 million years.
That's in this Chatur Yuga.
Yeah, that's this chapter.
No, but Rupa Goswami is saying it's not in this Chatur Yuga. Previous, even before. Yeah. So now, Gurudev is telling that bathing in any of Mathura's sacred waters, it destroys all the sins of any living entity, and each and every step taken in Mathura gives the same result as performing a Ashvamedha Yajna, horse sacrifice. Actually, whatever Gurudev is listing here now, there are also references from different Puranas and so forth. Then he says, the Supreme Lord himself says in the Adivaraha Purana, quote, O Vasundhara, certainly in all the three worlds, the hellish planets, the world of humans, and the celestial realm, nowhere is as dear to me as Mathura. He further states in the same Purana, O Vasundhara, during Chaturmasya, my time of sleep, all the oceans, lakes, and places of pilgrimage dwell in Mathura. His time of sleep. That means when devastation. The Skanda Purana mentions that the result attained by residing in any other part of Bharatvarsha, India, for hundreds and thousands of years is attained simply by remembering the city of Mathura. Actually, one thing that we should understand, when Rupa Goswami wrote Upadeshamrita, and then he wrote I believe it's the 9th verse, Vaikuntaj Janito Vara Madhupuri Tatrapi Rasotsavat Vrindaranya Udarapani Ramanat Tatrapi Govardhana Radha Kunda Ihapi Gokulapate Premamrita Plavanat. So in that verse, Rupa Goswami, he's pointing out, greater and higher than Vaikunta is what? Madhupuri. That's Mathura. Greater than Mathura is Vrindavan. Why? Because Rasa Utsavat, the Ras Lila dance of Krishna took place. And he tells about Mathura because Krishna's birth took place there. Right? And then he goes on to Govardhan, and finally Radhakund, topmost place. So,
So where did he say he took birth in
Mathura as Devaki Nandan.
appearance?
Yeah, his appearance.
Birth.
Yeah. Janito. Janito means birth. Yeah. Because he was born there. But it's, anyway, that's a more finer point.
Yes.
So, whoever chants and fasts in Mathura becomes free from sin by taking darshan of Sri Krishna's birthplace. A sinful person who has killed a brahmana, who is a drunkard, who kills cows, or who has violated celibacy, he becomes free of these sins merely by circumambulating Mathura. All those who come from other far-off places to perform Mathura parikrama and to have darshan of the pastime places here become free from all kinds of sins. Not only that, if one simply takes a vow to reside in Mathura, he becomes free from all kinds of material entanglements. It is written in the Padma Purana that one who desires to have darshan of Mathura, but he leaves his body before getting this opportunity, he will surely take birth in Mathura in a future life. There is not the slightest doubt about this. Only those with firm, unshakable devotion for Sri Krishna and who are the objects of his abundant mercy can have attachment to this Mathura Puri, which is beyond the material world. In the Vayu Purana, it is written that Mathura Mandala is within the 84 kosas of Braj Mandala. See? Mathura Mandala is within the 84 kosas of Braj Mandala, and that the Supreme Lord Sri Hari himself eternally resides here.
So the 12 forests, Mathura
Braj.
is within the 12 forests.
Yes, yes. Madhuvan, actually. The Madhuvan forest was the exact place of this Mathura. Yes. Well, Mathura city. Yes.
So Krishna would take the cows and the calves all around these areas, around Mathura also.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's actually 84 kosas. We're discussing like 160, what is it?
164
square miles.
Uh-huh.
That's the Vraj Mandala area. And the borders were also being discussed from Shastra, the borders of Braj Mandala. So when we go on the Braj Mandala Parikrama, these are some quite long distances between one point and another. That's why buses were used. And, you know, the Braj Mandala Parikrama, we couldn't even go to all the places within that time period. There's so many pastime places. So at a certain place, Gurudev, like somewhere around the middle of the Parikrama, Braj Mandala Parikrama month, then Gurudev would come to a certain point, which we were talking about the other day, yesterday, that then he would sit there and read his own Braj Mandala Parikrama book, which lists at least about 30 or 40 different villages and different sites around the area where we were sitting, which we would not have time to go and visit. And it just is describing the name of each and every town. And then Gurudev's explaining in his particular book how that town was named after a particular pastime that Krishna performed there. And that's been there for thousands of years, those names. So, yeah. The Vayu Purana further states that Mathura Dham, quote, Mathura Dham is blessed, being superior even to Vaikuntha, the holy abode of Sri Narayan. By residing in Mathura for only one day, a person attains devotion to Lord Hari, and by residing here 3 nights, one attains that most rare love of God, which is difficult to obtain even for great liberated souls. And then the final thing we'll read right now, before the arti. Srila Rupa Goswami has written in his Sri Mathura Mahatmya. So Rupa Goswami has written Mathura Mahatmya, the glories of Sri Mathura. And he's saying, O Avanti, this is the verse I was mentioning. All the other holy places, like the 7 holy cities. So Rupa Goswami has written a verse in which he's addressing each one of these 7 holy cities. O Avanti, become ready with a spittoon in your hands. You know what a spittoon is? You know what a spittoon is?
Yeah, you spit in it.
Right. Srila Sridhar Maharaj also had one, and it's usually lotus-shaped.
Right.
Right? And all royal personalities, they'd always have like that.
So what did it say there about the spittoon in it?
It's telling, O Avanti, one of those 7 holy cities, become ready now with a spittoon in your hands. O Mayapuri, Haridwar, become ready to fan with a chamara. O Kanchi, take an umbrella in your hand. O Kashi, hold wooden sandals in your hands and be ready. O Ayodhya, do not be afraid anymore. O Dwarka, do not chant any prayers today. This Mathura Devi, who today has become the chief queen of Sri Krishna, the great king of kings, is pleased with all of you maid servants. So in other words, all the holy cities are serving Mathura Devi and this holy abode, Sri Mathura. So tomorrow we'll continue, which will talk about Sri Krishna Janmastan, Sri Krishna's birthplace there in Mathura.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Shiva's, what's he called in Vrindavan?
Gopishwar.
Gopishwar Mahadev.
And he's the protector of the Dham, right?
Well, there are many Lord Shivas all over Braj Mandala.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there's always in each place there is a specific
Yes,
Shiva that's the
but
protector.
in Vrindavan, right near to Vamshivat, that temple of Lord Shiva is called Gopishwar Mahadev, because that pastime of Lord Shiva wanting to become a gopi, and then Krishna gave him the instruction that he should always stand in the form of the gopi at the entranceway to the Ras Leela. So that temple is the main Lord Shiva temple in Vrindavan.
But he's considered the protector of the Dham. Right?
Oh yeah, he's called, actually his name is also called Kshetra Pal, the protector of all the holy tirtha, the holy places, Kshetra. And he has different names all around, all the different parts of Braj Mandala.
In Mathura, there's
a question.
I can't remember his name in Mathura, but there's a temple we visit, Lord Shiva in Mathura.
Well, Ranganath, there's a Lord Shiva temple. What's it called? Ranganath. I'm
We
forgetting.
always go to every Lord Shiva temple.
But there, in
Prominent one
Mathura,
the
there's a number of Lord Shiva temples. I think there's 4.
My question is, if he is the protector of the Dham, why didn't he prevent the Muslims from entering and destroying Govinda Dev and Madana Mohan and others?
Well,
it's complicated.
No, the thing is that he's eternally residing as the protector of the Dhams. Protecting doesn't always mean saving the bodies of the devotees. There's a plan that the Lord always has, just like, for example, in Navadvip Dham Mahatmya, why did all the holy places become lost by the movement of the Ganga? It's the will of the Lord. And then Lord Nityananda predicted that again, there would be a very beautiful temple built, at the birthplace of Sachinandana Gaura Hari. So, and Mahaprabhu's plan, Krishna's plan, is always beyond the knowledge of the ordinary jivas, because he has a long-range plan, what he wants to happen. So the fact that the Mughals came, the fact that the British came, that's all part of Krishna's plan. And we see, in fact, how that worked in favor of spreading the Srimad Bhagavatam around the world, the whole mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because the British came, and then the English language became a world language, and then the mission became preached in that world language.
Well, could it also be that the process of deity worship is not so much emphasized in the Kali as Harinam Sankirtan?
Yeah, but still, it's done, it's performed, the process of deity, but it's not the Yuga Dharma in the Kali Yuga, for sure. But those deities were protected by a great king, and they don't want to let them come back. They're so attached in Jaipur to the deities that they don't look like they're coming back.
They aren't coming
So they had to make the Pratibhu expansions. Yeah, now we gotta...
One other quick point, though, also.
They're having a question thing.
Yeah, one last question here. The other thing also, we can also look back and see from the time of Krishna, what happened. All these places seemed to disappear. And then Mahaprabhu came and he rediscovered them. That was even, before the So there's a certain point in time that things will appear to be lost, but then there's the bliss of them being rediscovered.
Yeah, that too. It's all part of his plan. Gaur Premanandi. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Govinda Jiyo Ki Jai, Shri Gaur Arti Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Jugal Arti Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi.
Were your kids up there too? Is everybody back down here now? Are you staying parking and getting them, or they're eating up there? That's good. I was actually curious because I was going to get them something to maybe eat over there. I have to go get them. Yeah, you're here. You want to lead our busy. Lead our. Yeah, it's fine. Okay.
I had just got here like 7:30. No, 6:30.
Can you fix this smoke? Who wants to lead that? You want to lead it?
Yeah, we want to. Yes, we do.
Jai